My intro thing, like without saying it was, I was just gonna run through all the shit things that have happened over the summer and then just cut and just say, so what are you thinking now going into round one? Yeah, do that? We haven't done any chit chat.
Go on, I've already done some.
Alright, good evening. It's March 22nd. We're about 5 days from round one. It's like 8, 9, 10 p.m. and the sun's still shining, but it's almost round one, Tom.
Yeah,
and
because they changed it, remember?
Yeah, they changed it. And good on them.
So we get 6 months of daylight savings and 6 months of Eastern Standard Time. So we don't actually have a default time.
Perfect balance.
Mm.
But I am keen for round one. Are you?
Yeah, I reckon this is the longest an off season has felt, or the most distant I've felt from footy and the club in an off season for I can't remember how long.
Yeah. You know, I was looking through some like arbitrary notes before coming over for the 2016 preview podcast.
Go on.
And I was just jotting down pre-season nutshell. Jake Carlisle recruited essentially for pick 5. Nathan Freeman recruited. Gresham plus 2 other guys drafted through the national draft. Jake Carlisle gets caught on Snapchat snorting coke virtually within 12 hours of the deal going through.
Well, they were sitting on that.
Yeah. Jake Carlisle again banned, along with the other Essendon Bombers, for 12 months before January, before he's barely lifted a weight.
I think the highlight that they have of him in St Kilda gear is them boxing in a park.
Yeah, and he's distinctly kind of over in the bushes as well.
Yeah, it's like it was a really small park and they kind of ran out of room, so he's just sort of stuck between a tree.
Well, yeah, it was like him being on the kids' table or something at a dinner party. Billings being quote-unquote managed through the off-site season. Freeman permanently listed as 2 weeks away from probably
the new Aaron
joining
Hamill.
the group or something.
Yeah.
Still in March, that's still the case right now. Mackenzie Rice getting glandular fever. McCartan does his hamstring first quarter of NAB 1 on their way to the loss against the Roos. NAB 2 washed out. NAB 3 just a bit of a meh kind of loss.
Yeah.
So, what's going on down there? It just seems like...
Not much. That's what it looked like. I was at NAB 3 against Melbourne and it looked like a team. Never mind that they'd played NAB 1, which was kind of out of sight, out of mind in Wangaratta. And NAB 2. Well, the funny thing about NAB 2 was that actually got more coverage not being played than if it was played. Up in Mackay on the Sunday twilight time slot. But NAB 3 looked like a team that had barely played any actual football for months.
And that's strange because the more you hear from these coaches these days, the more these arduous pre-seasons are getting more geared towards match simulation. And I was just watching the video on saints.com.au today with the new conditioning manager, Hornsby. Yep. And he was saying that their running conditioning is all geared around their game day running patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes it even more surprising when you rock up and you see NAB 3 and these guys look like they're just a motley crew from the local gym.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably taking it a step too far. There were some decent highlights. I mean,
yeah.
I did have a moment last Monday actually. I was rewatching. I think it was the third quarter. Were we kicking to the left of screen in the third quarter? Yeah. And Jack Billings.
Wait, no, last quarter.
Last quarter.
Second and fourth.
Yeah, last quarter. Jack Billings is leading up to the half back line, out towards the boundary, and the kick is a little bit off. He's getting a little bit of a fingernail nudge in the back, and he just, for the listener out there, he just kind of puts his hands out to the side, like kind of what the fuck, but kind of at the umpire, but doesn't even have to look.
Yeah.
And the umpire just blows the free kick. And I just thought, yeah, this kid, he's already got it. He's already got them on a string.
Yeah.
Like, he's already got a swagger. And he's played about 12 games.
He's got the Geelong... Like, when I talk about Jack Billings, I always think about... He reminds me of the kind of player that only seemed reserved for Geelong or Hawthorn, or maybe Collingwood in the past, sort of like, basically 2007 onwards. So quite roughly around the time, even when we were successful, relatively successful, it was in a completely different way that we went about it. We didn't have these guys who could kick goals from 50 on the run at will, or just be really sharp wherever they were on the ground, or near goal, or even if they weren't a sort of full-time forward. And Billings is like our first guy who just can pull stuff out of his ass and just do stuff and just walk it onto a field, no matter how much conditioning he has or hasn't had. And I mean that in the sense that he's done this from his first game. He's just looked ready and he can just do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
And I feel like Gresham has a little bit of that already from what I've seen. He's just that... You can sort of see it when young guys play, and there's not that many of them, but I guess Selwood's an easy example now because we know he's good. He turned out to be a good player. Joel Selwood. But in 07, he just walked into a premiership team, and as a first-year player, and when they got thrown in, they don't shit themselves. They just do what they have to do.
Yeah. And
it doesn't look like going up a level in intensity or physicality. Yeah, it doesn't faze them at all. And Billings is like that. So we got some of that out of the game mostly in the first quarter. Otherwise, it was really just the only other thing I really got out of the game.
NAB 3
was in that third quarter actually, when there were probably 2 or 3 passages of play where that Rewalt playing on the wing actually started to look like it was paying off. There are a couple of passages where we turned the ball over in our back half and then went on the far side around the wing. And I think he was involved both times. And it just looked pretty seamless and we had space. And I think they both end up at least very close to goal because we're not that polished just yet. But otherwise, it was... Some of the intensity was pretty good. Jaron Geary was awful. That was the other thing. His first quarter or his first half was awful. Couldn't hit a target no matter where they were. And he gave away a free kick or 2 as well. Yeah,
it's funny you mention that because I think our kicking across the board against the Demons was pretty bad because some of our better kicks like Savage and Webster were some of the culprits as well.
Yeah.
But aside from Billings, the main takeaways I had, they were kind of few and far between, but yeah, I thought Gresham was pretty positive. He looked like a guy that, like Loney was last year and Sinclair too.
Well, I liked Loney. Actually, on that, I liked Loney as well.
Yeah, he was good. But yeah, like Loney was last year, he seems like a guy who, even though he's small in stature, he seemed like you could visualise him playing quite a few games, early on even.
Yeah.
And yeah, aside from him, I really liked some of Blake Acres just being in the midfield. Whereas last year he was kind of dropping back in defence, he was playing as a sub. He was a bit everywhere, but just playing him on the midfield, he looked good at times.
When he gets the ball, he looks good.
Yeah, he
didn't get it too often. It was a bit like that first NAB game. He got a bit more often, I think, in this one, particularly in the last quarter. But when he gets it, he looks really comfortable.
Yeah, he gives us a bit more run and carry than some of the other guys can give us. He was quite good. Yeah, Loney, like you said. I thought, Bruce was hampered to a degree by the fact that the whole team wasn't functioning that well, but his hands, his marking was pretty good.
His marking was really good. He kicked 2 goals too. He could have kicked 4 goals. They were all gettable shots.
Yeah.
So that in itself, as in that he's getting shots, is a good sign. So if he can just kick straight, that'd be nice.
I mean, as much as we're being quite critical about the NAB form, I'm not sure I was exactly jumping out of my skin coming into round 1 last year. And if I remember correctly, I think we had a rash of hamstring injuries coming into round 1 last year as well.
Yeah, I think we did.
We've had a few, bits and pieces in terms of injuries, to Mackenzie and McCartan, etc. But nothing too major so far. I think the only other main thing from the NAB was, what did you think about the ruck situation? Because that's still quite a kind of question mark.
Yeah. Well, I thought they were going to just do a straight swap with Holmes and Hickey, because Holmes didn't play in the first half.
Yeah.
But they actually put Hickey forward, which he didn't get much of it, but he looked more comfortable.
Yeah.
Or he seemed to get himself involved more in the passages of play. I think he's more of a forward caught in a ruckman's body. Really, he looks best when he's roaming around the front half.
Yeah, right. But
Holmes, Alan Richardson, just to introduce him, he's our coach.
That guy.
Yeah. He sort of hinted after the game that Holmes is sort of first in line for the rookie spot for Carlisle, and then he mentioned at the same time, I think we were talking about this the other day, how Billy Longer in the Sandy Inch Club was up against Lewis Pearce, and Richo said that Lewis Pearce had the better of him and that Billy disagreed with Richo. They had a conversation that he disagreed with him.
Well,
which was interesting. Which
we should add a parking challenge to see who was right.
Yeah. So when he said that as well, that made me think that Holmes is almost a certainty, because we can't even get what's supposed to be our established rucks. And I know that Longer had the shoulder done, but at the moment he doesn't seem very close to being in the top. Certainly not number one.
Right.
And even our number one, not that our number one looks that solid. But Holmes, and I thought Holmes, when he went on, he did look like he'd developed or was better for the experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
His follow-up was a lot more, his reaction post-ruck duel, once the ball hit the ground or went to a play, it was a lot quicker. He seemed to have a lot more awareness of what was going on as soon as he'd done his part as the ruckman.
Yeah. As much as I'm excited about Holmes, and I agree that he's probably more than Hickey really taking the opportunity with both hands in the ruck, it still just makes me frustrated about Hickey, because I still think, I agree that he's looks the most comfortable when he's roaming, but I still think he's more of a ruckman than a forward, just because, like, we were actually, for the listeners out there, we were watching last time they met on the Port Adelaide website, and Hickey dropped a couple of sitters, and, I'm obviously just picking out one occasion, but I just don't think his hands are that secure.
No, they're not.
He's also tends, like Bruce, a little bit even, gets bumped off too easily, despite his height advantage as well.
Yeah.
So
or just worried out of it, even. Because he's not necessarily dropping. He's not necessarily in hard one-on-one contests. It seems like it doesn't take much contact or pressure for him to get worried out of it.
Yeah.
And that goes around the ground. Going to what you said, looking comfortable roaming. Max Gawn led him to every ball, every high ball that went, whether it was our forward line or their forward line in the first half. Max was first to it.
Yeah.
Every time. And just showed him up as a bit, looked a bit slow, which is still why I think he's best in the forward line, in front of the ball.
Just as a quick aside, I saw a bit of the Geelong game. I think it was against the Pies last week. It was at
Freo?
Skilled. Yeah. No, it must have been at Domain, actually. I was just going to say, I saw a bit of that game, and I was watching Ray Stanley quite closely. Now we were talking about lumbering big men. And I still think he flatters to deceive. I still think he's dog's balls most of the time.
Yep.
Nonetheless, Mooney kind of found a way to talk him up. But anyway, so there wasn't heaps to take away from the NAB. I kind of just want to just push it aside and just get into it.
And that's what we're here to do, Rich.
Well, let's do it. Should we just dive into thoughts for round one?
Yep.
/ the first few games?
Yep.
So, We got Joey's 250th. Roo, round 2, 300. Is it Collingwood, round 3? The 50th anniversary?
Yeah.
So, kind of like the 3 big weeks. Oh, round 1's big always for no reason, but... Then it's Hawthorn,
My problem with the Collingwood thing is it's more like a 6-year anniversary of Collingwood's premiership over us.
I think we'll hear that on the night. Yeah, so it's Port, Dogs, Pies, Hawks, then Giants at home. And then, in my opinion, then we have our first chance to win a game in round 6 against Dave's, I think.
I think we're a chance against Port and...
Port, yeah?
Only because,
Awesome,
because I can't pick them.
Yeah.
I can't tell if last year or the year before is the aberration.
This is what we need.
Yeah. But I don't know, they can't be worse than us.
Port?
Like, over the year.
No.
Over the length of a season.
Please.
Yeah. But I don't know, just because it's round 1, a lot of teams won't have settled yet. You can throw up a few...
90 interchange thing.
Yep, there'll be a few things that teams haven't
Ryder
settled
gone.
with. Ryder gone.
Monfrees.
You just get
we aren't.
interesting results. Yeah, this is it.
Well, I tend to think, though, that they could be one of the ones that jump back up. I've got them in my predicted top 8. I really like the Dixon acquisition.
Yep.
I think he's perfect.
Yep.
And he's got that little point to prove because he had those little misdemeanors at the Gold Coast. So he's coming into a proper football club, proper coach, proper ground, just proper everything.
Yep.
One of the best.
Except for the song.
Yeah. One of the best Guernseys.
Arguably
Top
the best
3
jumper.
at least,
Yep.
I reckon. So I think he's perfect, yeah. I've never been a big fan of Ryder anyway. I think he's pretty flaky, but it still hurts them. Like, they've still got depth.
I don't know. I don't think they figured out... I know this was talked about a lot last year by everyone. It just didn't look like they've really worked out how to use him best.
They did, yeah. It was such a strange year from them, though. You almost kind of want to just discount it because it was just weird. Because I think that's
why I'm saying, like, as far as this week goes, I have no idea what to expect.
Right, yeah.
I still think Port will win. And Port will be better than us over the length of the year, as I said, as most people would think. But especially early in the year when teams are just settling and getting things together, and as you said, with some of the rule changes, I just don't know what to expect from them.
Well, yeah, in a more general sense, how do you think the 90 interchange rotations cap is going to affect our game style? Because we were so gung-ho and trying to press high up the ground last year. Is that actually going to be possible this year?
Well, I mean...
To do it for 4 quarters?
It's all part of... I mean, I don't think we can do anything for 4 quarters just yet because we're still young and you're just going to get that. 90 interchange or not, or change to the interchange cap or not. And then, that's where you get Roo playing up the ground and guys like Billings and maybe even Loney playing in the middle a bit, and Gilbert even playing in the middle a bit more.
He's
Robertson as well.
Be in there a lot.
Yeah, and Richo talking up Hickey and how important he is and how important it is that he plays well, forward of the ball and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a learning curve for everyone, I think.
The competition,
yeah.
You mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
That could...
I mean, you can probably see a few things how it's going to play out, or how teams are going to try and combat it. We already know that. But...
Port were kind of renowned back in 2014 for being one of the best running sides. So I wonder whether that kind of kicks back in.
Yeah.
Now that it's going to be such a harsh harsh cap to bring on to impose on the whole competition.
Yeah.
Do you reckon
Well,
that will play out like that?
Well, it might play into their hands. But in the same way, that's probably the kind of thing that will not play into ours. We're not, just because of the kind of team we've got, not as experienced in putting 4 quarters together and probably not as fit, or conditioned or hardened.
Match condition, Although Port did have half of a Mickey Mouse game against the Tigers. Against about 8 players.
Yeah, that's true. But they're a bit more... They're a few years ahead of us, so... it could be the kind of thing that, maybe takes us a peg down for a year. Or at least stagnates us.
Yeah.
Or plays a contributing factor in...
Yeah.
Us maybe not improving too much on what we returned last year in terms of wins and losses.
Yeah, and like I was saying to you before, it almost feels like, this is nearly the case every time you have a round 1 away from home, but particularly with round 2 being against the Dogs, who are always like a bit of a faux rival.
Well, I think we're rivals now because, and I think it's only going to strengthen. Someone tweeted at me, sorry, I can't remember who it was, about Melbourne and St Kilda being like a rivalry over the next few years because we're sort of both coming up at the same time and there's the whole, Cinderella aspect or whatever you want to call it, like we had with the Dogs a few years ago. But I think it's going to happen again because we're almost on track. The Dogs are obviously a bit season or 2 at least ahead, but I think the same thing might happen again.
Well, this is a bit of a tangent, but did you catch the Paul Roos article today? He kind of came in and said it would kind of be a bit of a dream scenario for the AFL and something that he could see happening, which is within the next couple of years seeing a D's versus Giants grand final, and he kind of went to lengths to highlight D's, Giants, and I think even the Blues as like the teams that will kind of re-emerge up the top of the ladder, but making a point to leave out St Kilda. I don't know if it was this an honest mistake, but...
Oh, yeah. I mean, regardless of what he thinks in terms of St Kilda, because my sort of... I don't know, my sort of like movie script scenario is that it's, the Giants versus Dogs, D's and Saints.
He did mention the Dogs, yeah.
Yeah. And, as a top 4, which is basically the team that the AFL gave everything they could to ensure they won at least one premiership ASAP against the 3 teams that are... Victoria. Yeah. Against the 3 Melbourne teams that haven't won one for 50 years plus now this year. All 3 of them, it's 50 years plus. Yeah. So, I can see that sort of happening, and probably making it a little bit harder. If at least one of those teams don't come out of the next 5 to 10 years with the premiership.
So getting back to the Dogs, round 1 we've got Lee Montagna. We're going with Montag or Montan?
I say Montagna because that's how you actually pronounce it, and that's how he says his grandmother pronounces it, who is Italian.
I thought he said tag. He himself said tag.
He does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he's wrong.
Always listen to your grandma.
Well, with my obviously Italian heritage, Rich, I know the G should be silent.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, 10. So, we got Lee Montagna's 250th in round 1. And then we got Revolt's 300th.
Well, round 1 is also Dempster's 150th game for the club and Revolt's 200th game as captain.
Yes.
He's only the 5th player ever to have done that.
Good point.
Which is pretty amazing.
Which then builds up even more into round 2 for his 300th against the Dogs, which is obviously going to be the first time that most of us see them for the year.
Yeah.
And
in the hot cross bun jumper.
Yeah.
20th anniversary.
Yeah, that's it. And and then
tomorrow's the 20th anniversary of the Ansett Cup win.
Yeah, you're right. Because I actually read Beveridge talking about the NAB format, and he referenced the NZ Cup win, which I remember fondly. But yeah, then leading into round 3, which is obviously against the Pies, which is the 50th anniversary of the 1966 flag. So it's quite a bit of a marketing blockbuster start to the year for the club. But do you think...
And that is a home game as well at the MCG.
Yeah, true.
On a Saturday afternoon.
How do you see things actually unfolding for us in those first few games? We've then got the Hawks at the G and then Giants at Etihad to round out the first 5 games.
The strange thing is about... Well, and we've got the Ds in round 6, is that right? So the interesting thing about that is that in those first 6 games, we play 2 teams... We only played 2 teams that made the finals last year. And one of those teams we beat... With the Bulldogs, we beat them, and in the other game we only lost to them by a goal. So, I still have all of those teams above us. I still think they're in at least one bracket above us. I include Collingwood and Port and GWS.
Do you feel...
I don't know. We might pinch 1 or 2. And when I say we might pinch 1 or 2, if we won, it would be a pinch.
Yeah, because obviously, casting an eye back to this time last year, the win that we got in round 2 at Gold Coast was obviously a pinch and a half. Like, no one was predicting anything.
Because Gold Coast weren't meant to be rubbish.
Yeah.
And we were meant to be ultra rubbish.
Yeah, and and
Josh Bruce kicked 6 as well.
And we didn't exactly, set the world on fire in round 1. We had our chances, but we were pretty lackluster.
Yeah.
So do you, even if we go through that first patch winless, do you feel like it's going to be a patch that has a real knock-on effect for the rest of the season? Or you think we can be valiant in those losses?
Yeah, it could, because those are the kinds of teams, those sort of mid-table teams, certainly coming off last year, because obviously we don't have much to refer to for this year just yet, but they're the kinds of teams that a team in our situation would want to start winning those kinds of games.
Do you see the
kind of teams you want to start beating at this point of your development?
Do you see the Dogs as being still kind of mid-table?
If it's
in a loose sense,
I still think this Dogs team, I think, are really, really capable of winning a premiership, but not this year. So even if they plateau this year, I still wouldn't worry even as a Dogs fan, because it's about probably next year onwards, really, realistically. I wouldn't be surprised if we beat them for that reason, because I can see them, just because of the strength of the teams above them and around them, I don't see much movement really on the ladder this year.
Yeah.
Or if there is,
the
gulf between the teams will be minimal.
Oh yeah,
so
exactly.
I can still imagine us beating a team like them.
Yeah, I think
we match up well against them, obviously, as last year proved.
Yeah, I think at least the bottom 3 positions of the top 8 probably mostly come down to your fixture and health. Like teams that play Bombers twice, for instance, they've got a leg up already.
Yeah.
But cut to the chase. I only see Port jumping into the 8 from last year's 8. I've got them missing. Yeah. Just off the top of my head, I haven't gone through the fixture round by round closely enough, but obviously they're going to be around the mark.
Yeah.
Like, you can't discount a team that has that kind of top-end talent.
Okay, so probably for the first time we both wrote some sort of running sheet, and we've got a list here of predictions both for the team and for individuals. So the first one is, how many wins will we finish with for the year? So we had 6.5 last year, or 6 in the draw. What do you think?
Okay, so drum roll, but I think
Go on.
this is where the drum roll will be.
Yep.
I think that we're going to get 3. And that's not to say... I can hear the groan from through the microphone. But that's not to say it's going to be a really discernibly more bleak year than last year. I put a lot of weight on what happens early. And I think our fixture early on, that's going to set us back a little bit. Not in terms of our overall development, but I just mean in terms of just give us a whack to our confidence, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Because, teams like Collingwood and the Hawks can just put you to the sword so easily. And I watched a fair bit of the Dogs against the Pies, and they just play at a completely different juice level that we don't have.
Yeah.
So, in summation, I think 3, but what do you think?
Well, I have 7 down.
Yep.
And I say 7, 6 or 7. I just said 7 because it's the better side of 6.5. I don't think we'll... This year, again, is going to be about getting games into younger guys, but they're still in that bracket of games where they're not going to be showing that much development just yet. And I'm talking guys like Goddard, Gresham, Akers, players in their first, second, third year who, everyone talks up the sort of 50-game mark as a good guide as when a player's going to take that next step. And all these guys won't be reaching that just yet. So for that reason, I think we might just be treading water a little.
But you're still confident.
But it's still all a part of development, and even if it is just getting physically them running out and playing a game of footy, that's something that will count towards their development later on.
Yeah. And obviously you're still confident enough in the overall game plan, the overall structure, overall makeup of the side.
The team...
Regardless of the individual improvements.
Yeah, because the team and the players and the coach, or the coaches, seem to be...
Sexton.
Don't forget... Yeah. What is he? Head of... Director of coaching? Smiling guy with... when you look at a passage of play.
The greatest teacher Richardson has seen in 15 years of coaching.
We, of course, talk about Danny Sexton. The maverick Danny Sexton. But they all seem to be on the same page, quite publicly.
And they've stuck together as a group for a while, too.
Yeah,
except for Welsh, but...
Yeah.
Even he's in his second year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no lingering shithouseness from the Waters era. Except for Jack Nunes. Alright, so what other predictions do we have? Trevor Barker Award winner?
Okay. I've got Jack Stephen again.
Same. So
I think he's... Do you know what happened? I saw an ad. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was at NAB 3, like actually at the ground, or it was in the record, or it was just on the AFL site, but it was like a promo shot for fantasy footy. I don't know if it was specifically Dream Team or Supercoach.
Yeah.
I think it was just more like a fantasy general thing. And one of the 3 players on it was Jack Stephen. Yeah. Like, of the 3, key midfielders in the entire competition, and Jack Stephen was one of them. And I think he's turned into one of those players now. That they are actually good.
They're actually a name.
Yeah. Yeah. And they actually look impressive. And I say look impressive as in...
Well...
Not just for a St Kilda player.
Yeah.
At this point in time, particularly. But they're actually a genuinely good player.
Yeah, they're recognisable across the continent. Yeah. Yeah, so I had Stephen as well, for the record. Best emerging player, which was Jack Loney in 2015.
I got Gresham.
I haven't got anything yet, so let's just think for a second.
Well, I have Gresham because of the very little I've seen of him and of the little that Richo's spoken of him, but every time he says it, it's pretty pointed that he thinks he'll play, or he alludes that Gresham will be getting games.
Yeah.
And after watching him, I think he will.
Backs that up. Yeah.
And I think, like Loney and like Billings, he looks, as you were saying before, he looks settled at that already taking that next step.
Just to shake things up a bit, I'm going to go RWB favourite Blake Blade Acres.
Yeah.
$67 for the Rising Star Award, by the way, because he fits into that loophole. But I really like the little flashes we've seen in the NAB.
Yeah.
And last year I had some big doubts about him because he looked, especially compared to Billings and Dunstan, who were in his draft class. He looked discernibly much less confident.
Yep.
But when he was running through the NAB, he looked like a different guy.
Yeah, he did.
He
really did.
He was just going for a Saturday footy game and playing Xbox later or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just going to chuck in Acres.
No, I like that. Okay, Robert Harvey, best clubman. Now, this is an interesting one because last year's winner was Jaron Geary, and Jaron Geary isn't the most popular player at RWB headquarters. So make of that award what you will. I've just got Sean Dempster because everyone likes him, and I assume that's what the best clubman award is for.
I'd say he'd have pretty good odds.
Yeah.
I say he would have been in the top 3 last year.
Yeah, and he's genuinely still playing a good role for us.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, the fact that it's sort of been made a bit of in the media that, Montagna, Rewalt, Dempster keep finishing high up in the BNF, and there's the reliance on Fisher as well when he's out there. As far as that goes, I think Dempster just seems to be the kind of guy that's just gotten more and more popular within the group and even with the fans, I think.
Well, I think when they get to that age, it's hard to deny them.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. He's been so consistent over the last few years.
Yeah. I'm going to go for, and this, controversy alert, because I know we've discussed this guy a lot already over...
Blake Acres?
No. Not the Blade. No. Maverick Weller of the Maverick Weller Foundation.
Yeah.
And so, just rolling on from that, he's already got a leg up with the foundation having its shindig in the last week or two. So I think he's already got runs on the board there.
Yeah.
Just a little sneaky...
Well, what's the difference between the Lenny Hayes Player Trademark Award?
Which he won last year.
Which he won last year.
So he could be in the run to get the double.
Yeah, the double good guy award.
Well, who have you got down for Lenny Hayes this year?
Mav Weller.
Back to back.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, on that point then, I'm going to say Hugh Goddard, because I've got Hugh Goddard coming second in the Robert Harvey Award.
Really? Best clubman. Yeah.
So I feel like he can get the trademark.
Yeah. Yep.
He's got trademark out the yin yang. I got cachet, baby. Okay, he will kick...
So you. Alright, now, one for the TAB account holders out there. Who's going to kick our first goal of the year?
It was Membry, wasn't it, last year? With the turn to the camera and the double fist.
Yes, after the contested mark.
I've
gone Bruce just because who else is going to do it?
Yeah.
Just because he'll be near goal, probably.
I'm going to go with, and this could... Nah, actually. I'm going to say Jack Billings.
Yeah?
Yeah. Let's just keep the hype ball.
Yeah.
Jack Billings.
And who's going to be our leading goal kicker for 2016?
Well, funny that you mentioned it. I was re-listening to our last podcast. If you haven't listened to it already, listener, jump back. We'll include a link in the post on the website. But I predicted Bruce to kick 37 this year in 2016.
Yep.
And I said 34 and you said 37.
Yep.
Do you think that's...
I'm sticking with that.
You think 37's going to get him over the line?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be kicking that many goals. But also I think the way the team will set up will mean the goals spread out a little bit more as well.
I'd have to still go with him. I think my smoky would be Billings. If he's on he's on the park.
Yeah. Because he's capable of kicking 3s and 4s.
Yeah, because...
He's proven that.
I didn't mention this earlier, but people were obviously wetting themselves on Twitter about his game against Melbourne.
I was wetting myself at the ground. Both Matt and I.
But what I was going to say though, I don't know if you saw it in the flesh, but he still didn't look that fit.
Well, that's the thing about him. He looks
is he Robert Harvey II, or is he not fit?
No, he's. I don't think he's. Well, I don't think he's match fit because he only played 9 games last year, and he's coming back from an injury which specifically restricts how comfortably you do move. But that was the thing about him. He still looked really effortless. Even that goalie kick from 150, that kick was an absolute bullet. It barely reached
against
half
the Roos
post height. In NAB 3.
Oh yeah.
The set shot.
Yeah.
Well, and that goal against the Roos. But the set shot barely went half post height. And it looked like he barely put anything into it, but it just travelled probably 60 metres by the time it finished its journey. He's just one of those players, I think.
So that was the only thing I was a bit kind of wary about when I was watching that game. I was kind of watching him specifically after that first quarter when he kicked 2 or 3. All of his second efforts, he just kind of just couldn't.
Yeah.
The ball, he just was not involved.
Yeah, no, I would hope that's just more like a lack of match conditioning rather than they've thrown him out there while he's still carrying some sort of pain or soreness or whatever.
Now this is an awkward segue because I know that Billings is barely a smoky to feature in this segment, but it's become a fan favourite, and I feel like we need a theme song for it actually, but Top 5 Hair.
Top 5 Hair, okay.
Pre-season edition.
Pre-season edition.
Well, pre-round 1 edition.
Pre-round 1 edition. So the summer winner, the summer season winner. Go on.
I do remember the top 5 from last time.
Okay. From this time last year or from the review?
Review.
Yeah.
So what was that, September?
Yep.
Yeah. It was... Well, Revolt was the winner. Second was Goddard, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Sinclair.
Yep.
Bruce. And Stephen with the facial hair getting him over the line.
Now, Stephen's out of the top 5 because just, I don't know, he shaved it and it was like, lazy. That said, Nathan Wright I'd almost put in with a shaved head. I said to my...
Honourable mention.
Yeah. I said to Matt he looks like Eminem the other week. It just seems to work. And I say the shaved head, he gets extra points over Stephen because it suits him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, so number 5, I think, would be Luke Dunstan, who's similar to last year. He's gone the shave back and sides with the longer on top, but it's a bit more pronounced this year, and particularly in his portraits, his official AFL player portrait this year, I think it's a real standout.
Yeah.
Mav Weller with the long hair and headband is looking extra handsome right now.
Of the foundation, yeah.
And I must say his brother likewise at Freo. Number 3, Hugh Goddard. I think there's scope there as well for improvement. So just watch him over the next few years.
We'll be looking over the next few weeks.
Well, yeah. Number 2, Josh Bruce, because it just suits him down to an absolute T. And number 1, my favourite hair in the AFL, is Nick Riewoldt. So well done, Nick.
He just keeps on keeping on.
He just keeps on keeping on.
Josh Bruce is due to play his 50th though this year, so maybe he's building up towards something.
Maybe. Do you remember his hair in his first game with the shaved sides and
the
long
longer
on top
beard?
Yeah, and the beard. But yeah, no, just the fact that he's this huge guy with the hair that he's got. It's very unmissable on the field.
And he's still a novelty.
Now, this brings me to our 2018 to 2022, or whatever the hell it is, Premiership captain list. because I don't know if you saw it today, but Alan Richardson mentioned Josh Bruce when he's talking about future captains.
Get the hell out. You serious?
He said it a few hours ago. It's 8:59 p.m. on Tuesday, March 22nd, or whatever it is. And a few hours ago, he was on AFL Tonight, and he was asked about future captains, and he mentioned Geary and Armitage, and he mentioned...
Don't make me vomit.
He mentioned Josh Bruce before he mentioned Nunes and Weller.
He mentioned Bruce before Weller and Nunes.
From memory, yeah.
Wow. Like, yeah.
Now, I'm sure there is a snowflake's chance in hell of Josh Bruce being captain of the St Kilda Football Club.
Really?
No chance in hell.
Just personality-wise?
Personality-wise, and he's too unassuming even for a guy with a big frame and who can, have a pretty big effect on a game.
He did knock over a Giants in round 1 last year. That's the most fired up visibly fired up I've seen him play.
Yeah, but if you're going to be captain, you can't be as slow as Treacle when you're applying forward line pressure. And that's what he is still. So, my vote's still with Nunes/Goddard.
For 2018?
Yeah, I think so.
So, Goddard would be in his 4th year that year. Yeah.
Yep.
Start of 2018. I love Goddard, but I'm just not sure Richo's the type of guy that's he's gonna ease you into it.
He's not
so
going
I
to
think,
GT.
Yeah,
him
so I
into it.
think if Goddard was gonna be able to do that in 2018, maybe he would have catapulted into the leadership group this year, but I'm not sure. But
He mentioned Weller.
now I've already SMS'd you a few times about this,
Yes,
but
we talked about this.
He's probably number 1 on my most frustrating Saints players.
Yeah, I mean, I think to quote you, can he kick a football?
Well, it's not even that. It's more about he'll do 2 or 3 things pretty much per game that just kind of make you sit back in your seat and go, wow.
Yep.
2 or 3 things that probably none of our other midfielders could do.
Yeah.
But then for the 115 other minutes, it's just hot air.
Well, that's the thing. He can do the trademark stuff. A little bit like Geary in the sense that the players like playing with him because they'll back into a pack or they'll back into traffic or they'll barrel themselves into a contest. But there's just a bit of polish that's lacking, and I just think you need to have some sort of basic football talent when it comes to disposal of the ball if you're going to be the captain. Your captain can't be shanking the footy. That Geary won't be captain for that reason alone.
I still stand by my call in the last pod that I wouldn't be surprised if Geary's captain next year. Maybe in a shared role, but yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
I think if he was, I think it'd be him and Armitage.
Okay.
Because I don't think either of them on their own could do it.
I'd still, even though
Or would be suitable, or would be ideal.
Even though I don't really rate Geary as a player, I still would much prefer him than Armitage.
Yeah.
Like, I would almost prefer Geary on his own than Geary and Armitage.
Yeah, but Geary, I don't even know if he's in our best 22 or if you'd want him in your 22 at the moment. I'd rather have Nathan Wright. Especially after NAB 3, I actually thought
he did a couple of good things, yeah.
Yeah.
Coming back to Josh Bruce, yeah, it never even really crossed my mind. But
No, not at all.
the coaches have been pretty consistent since the beginning of last year anyway, in saying that he's really, this is one of those things that you might hear a billion times through following the footy, but they've been consistent in saying that he's really worked his tail off. And yeah, it shows in what he's been able to do on the ground. And like you were saying with Geary, at the end of the day, as much as everyone talks about trademarks and values and all that, you still got to be in your top few players at your club to make a proper impact.
Leading by example isn't just, committing yourself to a contest and making sure you're in the right spot at the right times and knowing how to communicate with other guys and making sure they're in the right spot at the right times. during a game. It's actually being able to execute basic skills,
Mm-hmm.
and Geary just can't do that, really. And that just lets the whole thing down.
Bit of a tangent,
Go on.
but on my way home tonight, probably number 2 on my most frustrating Saints list is Robertson. And I was thinking,
Yeah.
if you could meld the best of Robertson and Geary into one player, that would be a pretty interesting player. That would be a player worth holding on to.
But you can't.
Any other predictions you want to make?
No. Okay, so no to Geary, really. Oh, you're happy with Geary, maybe?
2018? Or
Yeah.
I think
Or just whenever.
I think 2018 Nunes is probably ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I say Nunes and Goddard, I'm thinking more like a Nunes Goddard from 2020 onwards. And hoisting up the Premiership Cup together in 2020.
Yeah. With Ross Lyon.
But you don't see Jack Stephen in the leadership group. Or who's been shoehorned into the leadership group, as you said, as a captain. Oh, no, wait.
No.
Jack's here now. It's great to be here.
Thanks, Jack.
Good.
I don't see him doing it.
He can't talk.
I just don't think he's ever thought about it, ever wanted
Oh,
it.
yeah, that as well. Like, he doesn't look like a player who... What's the word? Thrives on being a leader, or in the more communicative sense. He leads by example in terms of what he does.
Yeah, he just wants to go about what he does. I'm not saying it might really bolster what he does.
Yeah.
We might see him improve in that area, but I still think overall, he's probably never, as he's grown up playing footy, really aspired to be in that kind of role.
That's
so
what I'm after, yeah.
It doesn't make sense now. So
I agree.
I don't think he's just gonna now just leap into it.
Yeah. No, I don't think. I don't think he cares too much.
I think he'll still be our best player the next 2 years, which kind of makes me worried.
No, I'm not too fussed with that.
I just still think he's like in your second or third rung of midfielders on a good team. Like, I don't see him as being like the apex of your midfield.
In any team, if
You're
a
a
top
good
4
team.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. Go for it.
Alright, for lack of a better segment name, we're gonna call this quick fire questions.
Okay.
Hutchie, if you're listening, tweet us a good segment name, because you've always got shit segment names. Anyway, let's dive into it, Tom. You ready?
Go on. Yep.
You ready? I'll let you finish chewing that.
I got a Malteser. Right, let's go.
Which player, that is, current St Kilda player,
Yep.
is most likely to get nominated for the Rising Star this year?
Jake Gresham.
We've had the Temple, number 4, Carlisle, number 2, and Billy Longer as number 18. Who is the next player to disrespect the club greats, Guernsey? Current player. Got thinking music here.
Well, Spencer White's been delisted already, so... What number's Bailey Rice?
Well, he's playing in his dad's number 37.
His dad wasn't a great at club.
Cult figure.
Cult figure. What other iconic numbers do we have?
We've got Weller, 44. Hughes now 23.
Nah, he'll be okay.
McCartan's got
30.
Chinese. Lee?
Tom Lee, the G Train. Yeah, lock it in.
Locked. Would Bo Wilkes...
Lazar.
Yeah, that's it. Would Bo Wilkes get a game this year if we still had him?
I'd hope not.
Aside from Dyson Heffel, which currently banned Essendon player would you like to see?
Hale Hooker.
Okay. For those at home playing along, would you like to see the club try and acquire at the end of the year? Hooker. Alright, good. Would it be crazy for the club to approach Brendan Goddard at the end of the year?
Very, very good question.
He's 30. He's played, for a bit of background for those at home, he's 30 now. He's played 64 out of 66 games at Essendon in the last 3 years. He's current captain, so it'd be pretty ballsy.
Yeah. It would depend how much improvement we made in the next year or two.
But we'd have to go to him at the end of this year, right?
Well, maybe the year after if he's essentially free. And you do want, a wise head. And if he's still able to execute some pinpoint passes and all that kind of thing, which is something you could argue we still lack, or we lack currently, but we're showing enough that it's worth bringing in a guy that age rather than playing a younger guy, because we're at a stage where we need to not top up, but we're at a point where we're missing a specific thing, and this person can bring it immediately, and it would benefit that season specifically.
Yeah.
Then I think I'd secretly love that.
Awesome. Oh man, there's some good answers there.
Thanks.
Far away out, you're going to see how lost of faith your change will lead.
I don't know about you, Tom, but I just want this thing to get on the road. Round 1, that is.
Yeah, no, Rich, it's been a long off season, as we spoke about at the start.
Starting way back in September.
October. Well,
September.
For, yeah.
Yeah. Import export.
Yeah. But I'm just glad we get to go through all the horrors.
Yeah.
That is the St Kilda Football Club
Dive back
playing
into
another
low
season.
lights.
Yeah. I'm just glad we can live that day to day again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
every Tom Hickey drop mark.
Every Tom Hickey drop mark. Every Tom Lee non-selection.
Every goofy smile of Danny Sexton.
Yeah.
Every
haphazard team selection report from Rowan Welsh.
Every bland doctor is the report video.
Yeah. From Andrew Wallace, who definitely doesn't want to be there.
Every awkward Jack Stephen press conference.
Yeah. Marchetti? Is he suiting up again?
That's one thing I wanted to say, actually, listener, before we wrap up. So Jack Stephen was shoehorned into the leadership group. When, Nick Revolt said, I'm pretty sure the way he responded to it was, the thing he liked about it was Jack Stephen asked why. And when I heard that, I don't know what you thought, Tom, but I had it in my head that they said to Jack, hey Jack, you're in the leadership group. And he's like, why? I just can't get that out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
kind of concerned. Oh, why?
Why?
What, why?
He's still going to win the Trevor Barker.
Yeah. He's our best player.
Very good.
Yeah. So
Get him in your dream team.
Rich, I think we were talking before the podcast, and you had you came up with an idea of a closing sort of, something to leave our listeners with, on the eve of this season, before we share this ride together, another ride together.
The 6th.
As RWB.
Redoneblack.com.au.
Personnel. And that is, what's Jake Carlisle doing right now at 9:22 p.m?
Food for thought.
Do you think he's having a few lazy frothies after a hard day on the tools?
Wouldn't surprise me. I'm not sure he's back at the park.
Maybe just having a phone call chat over the phone with Richo.
That I'd pay money to hear that.
I'd pay very, very good money to hear that.
Yeah.
So if you're capable of bugging either of their phones, just contact us at hello@redwhiteandblack.com.au. I've been Tom Brillier.
I've been Richard Lee. And
No, you go.
well, you can find us on Twitter at
Yes.
RWB Footy.
Yes.
Tom, what's your handle?
At Tom_Brillier.
I'm at RWB_Rich.
Yes.
And keep clicking onto the website, redwhiteandblack.com.au. We've got some really cool stuff.
We've got my St Kilda Jumper State of the Union Part 1 for the year coming up soon. We've got my brother Matthew writing for us occasionally now as well, so look out for his irreverent content.
Got some potentially legitimate journalistic opinions on the website. And
We'll
otherwise.
keep those under wraps, but maybe some genuinely good things coming soon.
And obviously we've got round 1 coming up, so we'll be right back in the swing of the match reports. But yeah, just keep clicking online and...
Yeah, we'll have some more garbage for you in 2016.
a lot more.
A lot.
23
a lot more.
weeks worth minimum.
Yeah.
Alright, thanks guys.
Thanks for having us.